Welcome back to the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. On today's episode, I have part 2 of last week's episode. So if you've not listened to last week's, make sure to go do that first. Last week, we talked about your unique selling proposition and your I help statement. Now that we know who you serve, it's time to figure out how to help them see you. How do you create content that brings your clients to you? You have to be able to stand out in this crowded marketplace. And so when you create intentional magnetic content, then that is going to help you stand out and help your people find you. Also, super quick, I'm so excited. I know I've been telling you that I was going to create a back to school special, and you will find the link in the show notes. So if you click back to school special in the show notes, you will get a 2-week free trial inside of our group coaching community. And after that, it is only $33 a month. It has not been this price since I launched the membership. I am offering it now at the same price because I do not want price to be a reason that you are not able to get the support that you need. To have a sisterhood of women around you. We meet every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do a group coaching session. Every month, we have a guest workshop where someone comes in and does a training to help us as professional organizers. You will not find a community like this anywhere else. This is specifically for you as a professional organizer. Now, as we move forward and we get closer to Labor Day, I'm definitely going to be talking more about our 100th episode and the specials I'm going to have around that. It's technically not a rebrand, but I am going to be doing a few things to kind of make sure I niche in a little more. I get way more specific on exactly how I'm helping you. And I want to make sure that you know how you stand out as a professional organizer. What is your secret sauce? What are your passions? And we're going to turn your passions into your purpose and how you become on mission. So when people find your stuff online or they talk to you, you are passionate about the work that you are doing with your clients. When you do that, you are going to stand out. And so I am going to get so much more intentional about making sure that as we rebrand, the 100th episode is going to be me telling you about all the new amazing things that I have coming down the pipeline for you. But in the meantime, right now, come join us in the group coaching community. Make sure to go try out the 2-week free trial. If you try it out, if you watch the replay vault that's inside of the group coaching community, you show up to a few of the group coaching sessions, and you don't feel like it's a good fit, no problem. You can cancel at any time. But while you have the option to do a 2-week free trial, come try it out. What I've realized is that anyone that comes into our community and actually uses the community the way it's set up to be used, which is coming to the group coaching sessions. If you can't come live, you can watch the replays. And being an active part of the actual community inside of the app, asking questions, talking to each other, supporting each other, networking, and having a support system is going to be a pivotal piece for your business growing. You help your clients, and I would love for you to allow us to help you. So please make sure to go join that while I have the back to school special. Click that back to school link in the show notes. Come join us in the group coaching community, and I will see you there. All right, let's get into this on how to create magnetic content. I'm Samantha Brown, professional organizer, decluttering specialist, and business coach. I created Pro Organizers Coach podcast to empower you to reach new heights in your business. I am on a mission to build a supportive sisterhood of passionate professional organizers. So whether you're a seasoned pro or you're just getting started, this podcast is for you. Hey, ladies. Oh, my goodness. We are back for another Transformational Thursday. I'm so excited. So, today I am bringing you part two of the last one that we did. In the last one, we talked about figuring out your unique selling proposition and your I help statement. So, what that does is it helps you with your messaging, whether you are creating your website, whether you are, doing content on social media, wherever it is that you are talking to your ideal client, you have to know those things. Like, what is their tipping point? What's their zero state? What's their hero state? What's their tipping point? And how can you help them? Which is everything we went over in part one of this. So today, I want to help you take what you figured out in part one and show you how you can use that for your content specifically to help draw your clients to you instead of constantly feeling like you're creating all of this content, but no one is liking it. It doesn't seem like it's bringing you in any clients. That's a struggle for a lot of us. So, the magnetic content is what it's called. And I want to help you reach the right people, not every person. So, you kind of have to switch your mindset just a little when it comes to social media. We think that if we're getting likes and if it's getting shared, then it must be talking to the right people. And while it's great that it gets likes and that it gets shared and all the things, that doesn't necessarily mean that those are our people and that we're talking to the right people. They may just be like friends and family that are like, "Ooh, I love what you're doing," which is fantastic that they love what we're doing. But we need the people to see it that are actually ready to work with us and that are ready to hire an organizer and that, hopefully live in our area, of course, unless you do virtual or something online. So you want to speak directly to what is considered more of like the hot leads, which is bottom of the funnel. It's the people that are at that tipping point, which means they're ready to hire. They are, or they're at least thinking about it to where they're willing to have a conversation. They may not be fully ready yet, but they're almost there, right? And then they become aware of you and maybe they'll call you back in a few months, which happens a lot. What you want to bring to this content is value, of course. Like, we always want to make sure that we bring some sort of value. And I'm going to go over the content buckets here in a minute of what that value can be. Your experience level, like, you want to show up authentically yourself and share things like what you've gone through or how you've helped clients. And we'll get into all of that in a minute. And then you also want to bring in the three factors, which is the zero state, the hero state, and the tipping point that we figured out in our I help statement. So that way it becomes highly relevant to the right person. Okay. So let's talk about the three buckets of different types of content that you want to be creating. That way it reaches the people and gives you ideas. Because I know for a lot of us, we love before and afters. Those are great. But there's other things that we can do as well. First off, you want to be able to share your story. I wanted to bring this up because for a lot of us, especially when we are starting an organizing business, a lot of women that I have coached, it's been hard to even get them to take a photo of themselves for the first homepage of their website. So I know it's hard to share ourselves and to open up authentically, but we are in such a personal service based industry that if we don't show people who we are and they don't trust us and get to know us, then they're never going to hire us because they want to feel like they can trust us, as they should, because we might be helping them go through their panty drawer or, all sorts of unmentionables. They are opening up their home to us in a way that none of us open up our homes to anyone. You want to make sure that you are sharing your story, what you have walked through, what you've learned, how you learned what you learned. You've got to open up and be authentic. I was listening to Lisa Nichols over the past few days, and she had me in tears because she was talking about her dip method. And her dip method is where, if you're doing like a short little video or a short little something, even a conversation, you want to start with who you are now. Like, I'm a professional organizer and a business coach and a decluttering specialist. But then you want to take them straight to, because this is where I came from. I didn't even know how to organize my home. I had so much clutter in my home that I had to learn how to declutter and organize things myself. Then opening up even more than that. So then it brings you back up to the other side of that's why my mission is to help other women start their organizing businesses without feeling the overwhelm. Or for my organizing clients, that's why I want to help them declutter and organize in a way that is going to be sustainable and take that weight off of their shoulders, right? So when we open up who we are and we share our story more authentically, people can connect to us. They're somewhere on that journey of what we've been through, or they're going through something similar, maybe. And then that helps them connect with us. If you keep it very surface level all the time, of just, oh, I'm a professional organizer, then the clients end up thinking that we're perfect, that we have everything figured out, that we couldn't possibly understand what they're going through because, our home is immaculate and amazing and our kids are amazing. And I hear it all the time, like, oh, your home must be perfect. And I'm like, no, and then I'm able to open up. And the reason I was crying whenever I was listening to her speech on this is because I realized I'm really good at opening up with my one on one organizing clients when we're in their home. I'm really good at opening up at our group coaching sessions with my members, but I've not been so good about opening up for the podcast and here in the Facebook group. And it hit me, and I apologize to God. And I want to also apologize to you all that I haven't shared more of myself. It is hard whenever I can't see you. And so it's hard for us to have a conversation back and forth. But my commitment to you is that I am going to start opening up a lot more and sharing a lot more of my heart, my journey, like getting real. So you know what this looks like to truly run an organizing business. Cause that's my mission. That's my passion, is that to help you realize it's not all perfect, but it's amazing when we are able to help our clients and they are getting results. And you hear from a client that's like, oh my gosh, it's been a year and my closet's still organized. Look at this, like you change people's lives. So that's my promise to you, is that I am going to start opening up a lot more authentically. But back to our story, our content buckets about our story. So in the first content bucket, we have story. It can be our own story. It should be our own story. And it needs to be from the heart. And then the other story that you want to share is how you've helped others. So at first, when a lot of us haven't helped others, or we don't have those stories or those client testimonials, then that's where sharing more of ourselves and our own story comes in and helps people get to know us. It's just, if we've been doing this for a minute and we have the before and afters and the client testimonials, I think we forget a lot of times that our clients or our potential clients still want to hear from us and get to know us on a deeper level. It just helps people relate to you. Okay, the second content bucket is value. So anything that is going to show you as the expert, it's valuable content, right? So like FAQs, anything that's going to, give them good information. Tutorials are great. Tips and tricks. I know a lot of us have seen those, on Instagram and different places of professional organizers. And there's a reason they show those things, is because it works and it brings in people watching. People love a good, tutorial of how to maybe even like file fold. Quick story. So I actually fold my bedding sets, right? Like the fitted sheet, all the sheets, and then the pillowcases. I put them all inside of one pillowcase. And then I kind of tuck that in to where it leaves this almost like envelope looking thing. And then you flip it over and it's just one pretty thing without the whole pile of all the different sheets. I just assumed everyone does that. And what I realized actually not too long ago is I was with a client. She was like, wait, what did you just do? Oh my goodness. So when you hear that from a client, like there's things that we do that we don't realize we could actually share as a tutorial for our people. If someone we're working with is like, oh my gosh, how did you do that? That's something that you could show online. And if you hate showing your face, or it's hard to figure out how to show your face, you're not comfortable yet, just show it with your hands. Like put your phone up to where it's down on like a table, and you could even be talking them through while you're showing what you're doing with your hands. So yeah, we definitely want to do tutorials, tips and tricks, and then strategies. We have a lot of those as professional organizers. We just need to be more aware when we're working with clients or what people are saying they really loved that we did. Any of those we could turn into valuable content for our people. And then the other content bucket that you want to make sure that you share is proof. Proof that you are the expert and that you know what you're doing. And the way that you do that is by sharing results. So this could be if someone leaves you a Google review, you do a screenshot of it and then you share it on your socials. Before and afters, and the before and afters can be photos, but they can also be like written. I had a client, which you don't say their name without their permission, but I was working with a client this week and I just had to share this story of what it was like when I got there and then how she felt when I left. And you can keep it very kind of surface level. So that way, hopefully that person obviously wouldn't get offended by any means because you don't say their name or anything like that. But it just helps people know that the zero state that our person was at or their tipping point that they were at before we got there. And then after we left, it's like proof of they were at the high point. They were at their hero state when we left them. Right. So that's what we kind of want to show on our before and afters. And then the other thing that's proof, again, can be you sharing your own story or the story of a client, sharing how you've learned something or what you have walked through and being open and authentic, like I was talking about a minute ago. That's another way to show proof. I think a lot of us feel like as professional organizers that we have to seem perfect. And that if we tell that, like, hey, I just learned this thing last week, that it may take away the professionalness or they may not want to hire us because we may not look as professional when really it's the other way around. When we show that we have a growth mindset and that we are still learning ourselves, it helps them know that we're not going to judge them. We just want to be there to help them learn what we are also learning and that we're open to change and growth and all the things. So, pulling the keywords from your USP statement that we did last week and thinking about where your clients are and then where they want to be, their zero state and their hero state. And then we need to figure out what they are actually saying. So, this was the part that always kind of got me when I was listening to people and starting the podcast and different things. Is I'm like, well, how do I do market research and figure out what my people are saying? It really is pretty simple, but I totally made it way harder than it had to be. Once you start working with clients, it's a lot easier because you can pay attention to those moments where they get excited or when you first show up and you're doing the consultation or even on the phone call and they're telling you how they feel or what's been going on for them. If you can write some of that stuff down, then it helps you when you're creating content to use the wording that is going to actually speak to the people that are just like them, which is our ideal client, our people that we want to help. And so that is a great way as you are working with people to figure out what they are actually saying. Now, if you've not worked with clients yet, or you're still at the, just getting started or the friends and family stage, you can go into Facebook groups, right? So if your ideal client, let's say, is a mom with multiple kids that's overwhelmed and she's a stay-at-home mom, okay? If you join a stay-at-home mom group, there's a few things that you can do there. Instead of just going in and being like, hey, ladies, I'm a professional organizer. If you live in the such and such area, I can help you. Here's my business information. Like that feels very stale. So, first off, you can go in and you can give valuable content, which I know people tell us to do all the time. You don't have to do it a bunch, but if you see someone struggling with like a pantry or a whatever, or you could even go in and be like, hey, ladies, I actually wanted to let you know I'm a professional organizer. So, if any of you all have questions about how to organize something, I would be more than happy to answer your questions. Just wanted to let you know I love that you are staying at home with your children. I admire you, and then whatever else. You can also go into those groups to figure out the language that they're using. And you can also go in those groups to share the struggles and the things that you're going through. It doesn't have to be a sales post. It can literally be a, hey, I'm having a really hard day today post, and here's why. In my business, I'm getting it started and it's so hard, and I've learned how to do these other things. So then all of a sudden they're like, oh, they're thinking of you as a, person that's struggling, and then they want to help you instead of it being you selling to them, right? And then they get to know you. So that's just some ways that I wanted to make sure to bring up, because I know I always had a hard time being like, what do I say when I go in the Facebook groups? I have no idea what to say. And then it's also just, again, about paying attention to what they are saying that they're struggling with, that if that's your ideal client. If your ideal client's a business owner, join a business Facebook group and see kind of the wording that they're saying, or maybe some of the things they're struggling with, or maybe even put a post out and be like, hey, I'm a professional organizer. I'm doing some market research. What are you struggling with in your business or in your home, or, whatever? Worst they can do is say, oh, you can't post that in this group. And then you say, oh, my bad, But if it's more of just asking a question, most of the time people will answer you and they're very helpful. The other thing that you need to think about when you're creating content is your why. When you know your why, the how becomes so much easier. It matters that you know your why of why you want to help these particular individuals. And normally it's because they are you. They're who you used to be. They are on the journey that you've already walked in some way, shape, or form. When you think of the I help blank who go from zero state to hero state so that they can what? That what can they do? When you think of why did it matter to you when you were there? So for me, for instance, and I know I talked about this last week, but it mattered to me because I was broken. I was desperate. I was ready to quit and give up. And I just needed some help. I needed the clutter gone so that I could feel normal again. Right. And so that's why decluttering works for me. That's why when I talk about it, there's a passion there because it's my why. I'm on a mission to help other women take that weight off and that stress off. So, real quick, I want to end with a quick formula idea of something that you could use for a piece of content. Let me just read this out and then I'll share it with you, and just put the word blank when you need to fill it in. Feel like your closet is a catch all room? Here's how to declutter your clothes. Then I would give 3 steps. I used this to organize my own closet. This is just one of the ways that I help my clients create peace in their home. If you want to have the weight come off of your shoulders and get the clutter out of your closet, be sure to comment below or DM me. It can literally be something as simple as that, but the point is that it touched on their zero state, their hero state, their tipping point. It allowed me to share what I've been through, and that now this is what I help my clients with. So anything literally as simple as that can start to help you be seen as an authority, and it doesn't have to be super complicated. Real quick, last is, remember, broad equals broke and specific equals sales. So when you're talking to one person, you can talk to everyone. When you're talking to everyone, you are talking to no one. And you are talking to one person at one spot on their journey. So, real quick, let me go back over this. If you wanted to use this exact formula, which you can play with it how you want, but this would be for like a tutorial, for example. But feel like blank. Here's how to blank. Then you give a few steps. I used this method or formula to blank. This is just one of the ways blank, like I help my clients with whatever. If you want to blank, which is whatever the hero state is, if you want to have the weight come off your shoulders, if you want to feel peace in your home, if you want to, whatever that hero state is that you have heard the women that you are trying to reach say that they want, if you want to blank, be sure to comment below or DM me. Like, it can literally be that simple to do a tutorial on your socials. I don't want to confuse you with a lot of this. I know it's a lot of information, but what I wanted to do was just give you some ideas of a little bit more than just the before and afters that we do, which I'm guilty. I love me a good before and after, pop it on, done. But I'm also not focusing on growing my organizing business as much as I am focused on the podcast and this group and helping you all to grow. And so my strategy is a little bit different than what yours would be, but I still have a strategy in my organizing business of growing my Google, making sure I take those testimonials and that I tell people to search Love, Laugh, Organize on Google so they can see my reviews and not just send them straight to my website. I also now have a little widget where it takes you straight to Google. Like there's so many things that you can do to be very strategic that just help your clients get to know you, get to know who you are and why you care to help them in the first place. We are in a helping industry. And so again, if we expect them, like you've got to put yourself in their shoes. If at whatever point you would have been willing to open up your home for someone to come in and be like, okay, let's pull open all your dresser drawers and, all of like your nightstand drawer and all the places that you might as well open up your purse and let them in, which my husband still this day won't even go in my purse. Like it was just how he was raised. So as humans, we have these certain boundaries and we wouldn't do it with like a construction worker, even if they were female, right? And so there's this whole other side of what we do as professional organizers, which is that we are going to be digging through your stuff with you. You may not have looked in that box in 10 years. And while I'm there, we are going to open it up together and see what's in there. So they have to know you. They have to know that you have empathy for them, that you have been through some things and that you made it through. So now you're turning around to help them get through it as well. And it literally comes down to that. If you keep that in the back of your mind of having empathy for your clients, knowing your why, so that way you are on a mission, it will help outweigh all of the doubts, all of the negative thinking, all of the fixed mindsets, because as an entrepreneur, you need to be willing to grow. So I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope that this helped you. I hope you guys have a blessed evening. I thank you so much for being a part of my community, and I will definitely see you all next Thursday. Bye. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. Go to proorganizerscoach.com to find all the ways that we can help you succeed in your business. Remember, you have the power to make a difference in people's lives through decluttering and organization. So keep honing your skills, embracing those challenges, and fostering connections. Girl, you've got this.